let's go around the room and everybody introduce themselves. Rodolfo, do you mind starting out?
Yeah, I'm Rodolfo García. I'm founder of Satyros theater company in Brazil. We lived some years in Europe, in Portugal, and I also worked in an institution in Germany during 7 years, working with multicultural projects. And I started researching technology and theater in 2009. And since that period, we've been making lots of research on technology, digital theater, and cyborg theater. And that's it.
Perfect.
And I am the director of The Art of Facing Fear and co-writer.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Rodolfo. Eduardo, are you able to just say hello?
Hello.
Thank you, Eduardo.
Eu é que agradeço a oportunidade. Meu nome é Eduardo Chagas. Eu sou ator do Satyros. Tá dando um probleminha aqui de som.
Dando eco.
Coloquei longe o celular. Eu sou ator do Satyros. Nós nos conhecemos há mais de 30 anos, né? Eu faço teatro há 40 anos, né? E estamos aí nessa... Tá muito ruim aqui, desculpe, gente. Jana, desculpa, acho que eu vou desligar o celular, tá?
Sim.
Pronto, acho que assim fica melhor. E agora nós estamos aí nessa jornada do arte de enfrentar o medo, né? Que está sendo muito legal.
So he said his name is Eduardo Chagas. He's an actor since 40 years, and he worked with Satyros. And he said that right now he's enjoying this journey of the art of facing fear.
I love that. Please tell him that I love that so much.
Ela falou que ela gostou muito do Art of Facing Fear.
Oh, obrigado. Thank you.
Rob?
Sure. Hi. It's so nice to be here. Thank you so much for your review of all 3 shows. I really appreciated that so much. Yeah, I'm just a guy who does theater. You know, I'm an actor out there doing the actor thing. I'm working on my thesis right now for my Master of Fine Arts. All done with classes, but got to get that thing written. So, you know, that's where my mind is right now. I'm getting ready to go into War of the Worlds. So I'm playing with like facial hair and stuff as an officer. But yeah, the Art of Facing Fear has been amazing. I'm the lead American producer on the US version of it. And it's just an incredible project. So I'm just so thankful to have been part of it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Napo?
And I got my MFA too, so I totally...
We understand. Napo?
Hi, everyone. My name is Napo Masheane. Okay, so I wear a lot of hats, but I'm a playwright, a theater maker, a spoken word artist, and one of the co-producers of the Art of Facing Fear all the way, you know, from the continent. I'm also a performer, and I love storytelling, and I love collaborations. And one of my passions as well is advocating and teaching African theater history, and more so sharing undocumented narratives of Black women who have never seen a day in a classroom, but who are storytellers, poets, griots, you know, spiritual healers, and just amazing beings who carry the world, you know, inside them.
I love that so much. All right. So we're going to just start from the beginning, what brought you, each one of you, to this project, where this project kind of came from and started, and each person can just take a little time answering the question, because I want to hear like the journey, each of your journeys, from I heard about this or I came up with the idea for this to, and then this, then we were there. So anybody, any volunteers?
Quando estávamos no teatro, já nos programando para uma nova temporada presencialmente, né? Aí apareceu a pandemia e 2 semanas, 3 semanas depois disso, todo mundo recluso em casa, o Ivan e o Rodolfo chegam com um argumento, né? Uma proposta de se fazer um trabalho na internet, né? E no início foi meio que doido, porque internet, teatro, então a gente ficou meio assim. Mas quando começamos a entender a ferramenta, aí a coisa ficou um pouco mais tranquila e todo mundo pôde trabalhar à vontade, mesmo porque o trabalho que a gente fez de processo no Arte de Encarar o Medo é o mesmo trabalho que a gente faz presencialmente no teatro. Ou seja, o Rodolfo nos dá cutucões para que a gente venha com improvisações em cima de propostas que ele dá, né? O Ivan já tinha um argumento já preparado para que a gente pudesse desenvolver o processo. Então foi assim salvador, né? Foi uma proposta salvadora, né? Tirou a gente do pânico que foi instaurado por essa epidemia, né? E hoje a gente está muito feliz por estar fazendo parte da história do teatro, né? E por estar fazendo o nosso trabalho com dignidade e empenho.
So he said that he was already, preparing himself to a new season in a presential theater, and then the pandemic came, and 2 weeks after that, Rodolfo and Ivan, they brought the idea about doing this digital theater. In the beginning, he said that it was a little bit crazy because it was in digital theater and they didn't know how to do it. But when they started to understand the tool, understand the Zoom things, so everything became okay, and they could work like better and more comfortable. Mm-hmm. So it's basically the same thing that they do in the presential theater. Rodolfo brings some ideas, some things, some teams, so they can start working on it and do some improvisation. And Ivan already had, the idea of what was going to be. So they started to develop the whole process, and it was something that, kind of saved because they were, there was kind of a panic because of the pandemic. And with this project, he became happy, and that's kind of it.
Perfect.
Yeah, that was it. I mean, we have 2 venues in downtown Sao Paulo in an area that's more or less the off-Broadway of Sao Paulo. It's called Praça Roosevelt. And there are lots of theaters. And we also run the very large drama school in the same square, in the same region. And so like with 2,000 students. So it's a very large project. And then we were like locked down. We were isolated. But we had this research in technology. And we said, okay, let's risk. I mean, we have already a research on technology, and it can be a good path for digital theater. And we had 1.5 months rehearsals, discovering all the Zoom tricks. We kidnapped these tricks for theater, and we developed the project. And then we opened in June, and one of the actors, Ulrika Malmgren, is a Swedish actress. She said, "Oh my God, we should invite people from Europe, from Africa, my friends, from the United States to see the show." And then people started seeing the show from other countries without understanding the language, but they understood that the possibilities for theater. So they got enthusiastic about making an African European production. That started in August, which was very important, all the partners from Europe and Africa. And in September, we started the American production with partners from the United States. So this was in 3 months, everything was built in an amazing way, completely unexpected and completely new. I mean, something revolutionary in a way, for us at least. That's it.
For me, Eureka is my colleague at Stockholm University of Performing Arts. I met her because I was teaching. I'm one of the advisory board members, and every year when I go, I'm allowed to host a special class sharing something about African theater. And the last time I was there, beginning of the year, Eureka and some of the lectures, they asked for my play, one of my plays, because they didn't have text or plays that have like multiracial characters in it. And then I gave them a play about hair and comb, which is one of the plays I wrote for one of the universities here. And they loved the play. And fast forward, lockdown, I'm depressed, I'm hopeless, I'm mourning, canceled shows, canceled tours, canceled projects. And Eureka says, invites me to a show, digital show. And I'm like, I don't want to be on a Zoom meeting, But also I was just like, I had such an attitude. I was like, I've got bigger problems. So why am I being invited to watch a play? It was just so far away from me. And I just remember, but Eureka was so patient and then connected me with Rodolfo, and they're sending me emails. And technology is not my mother or my cousin. So I'm just like, what is this? I'm trying to figure out how to get the tickets and everything. And I remember eventually I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to sit here and give up because, but they were so patient. They invited me for another meeting. And in the meeting, they explained the project. And, I met other co-producers. And I remember just being so confused and saying but why me? And what do you want from me? Again, the attitude, typical attitude of a drama queen, Black woman drama queen. I'm like, what do you guys want? Do you want me to act? Do you want me to direct? Do you want me to recommend? What do you guys want from me? And I remember they were like, well, we want you to come in as one of the co-producers and performers. I was like, oh, there's a business opportunity here, collaboration, network. Let's see about this thing. And then, I called some of my friends in the industry. I selected about 4 of them. And I remember writing this long monologue, love letter of, I think we need to do this. I don't know what it is. And I don't know how we're going to benefit. But I think this can bring us back to life. There's hope for us. And then we had our first rehearsals, and Rodolfo was so patient teaching us technology. And I'm like, what is this? But after a couple of days, I realized that this is a revolutionary, this is where theater is going, and this is a historic moment, and history, and he is an historic moment. And for me, it was just like, oh my God, I'm part of this. Okay, I need to get my acts together and be focused and know my lines And we committed, not that I wasn't committed, but I was just like, I need to take this serious. This is going to thesis. People are going to do research on it. The whole world is going to see this. This, just being part of it for me just blew me apart. And I was just like, oh my God, 50 years, 20 years to come, people are going to be reading about this. Drama students are going to do essays about this, but also this is the evolution of theater. And this is where theater is going. The old meeting the new, and somehow forming its new style and form. And I was just like, oh, this is amazing. And ever since then, I was just like, I can't be fired.
I love that.
You will not.
Love that. Love that.
That's one of the joys, is the connection with so many people around the world who are just amazing and doing great stuff, and hearing about them and seeing their work. So for me, I was working on my culminating project for my MFA, which was a dystopian play called Bloodless. It's by an author named Nicholas Walker Herbert, who I met at the Valdez Last Frontier Theater Conference in Alaska. So I'm from Alaska, but I live in Los Angeles now, and I'm a featured artist at that conference. And I love it. I love the conference, and I love new works and new works development, which is what it's all about. So with Bloodless, I was working with director Stephen Rothman, who's a professor at Cal State LA, a member of the Directors Guild of America, and I was co-producing the show and acting in it. And all of a sudden, we got our first show on March 12th, and then on March 13th, our second and last show of what was supposed to be an 8-show run, 8 performances. So like everybody else, we were shut down, and in the midst of this pandemic lockdown, which, I mean, I've been doing ever since, right? Like a lot of us. My immediate reaction was, oh my God, what do I focus on now? There's so much I didn't want to focus on. I had to make it through the end of the semester. I had my classes I was in, and then I had the class I was teaching. So I started with the class I was teaching. How do I shift it to online and serve those students? And at first I was like, oh yeah, you're focusing on the other people first. That's the way to do it. And then that moment of, no, this is also for you, because how crappy I would feel if I didn't, take care of them. So once I got that done, I was able to focus on the rest of my schoolwork. Then the summer hit, and it was just like this, what now, right? And luckily I had the theater conference, even though it was canceled, even though Bloodless wasn't going to the conference anymore for the summer, the monologue workshop that I coach in, I was able to coach in. And so that took up weeks of my time, a couple of weeks of administrative, organizing, production work, and then coaching for a couple of weeks. It was so wonderful. Then it was over. And this feeling of what's next, and how do I get out of bed every day? Some days, do I even need to get out of bed? Maybe I can get some extra sleep or take care of myself with self-care in whatever way I need to. And so a couple of weeks of that, and just trying to figure out the next step to move forward. And then I got an email from Steve Rothman, the director of Bloodless, who knows Rodolfo, met Rodolfo in 2015 at, how do you say the university in Stockholm?
Uniarts, Stockholm.
Yeah, so they met in Stockholm when Rothman was on a sabbatical, and Rodolfo was looking to bring this show to the United States. And he reached out to some people, and Rothman was one of the people he reached out to. And he was unable to produce it because he's busy with other stuff. So based on my production work in Bloodless, he introduced me to Rodolfo. And that first meeting with Rodolfo, I got to admit, I went in with that feeling of, oh my God, part of me doesn't want to do anything at all. Part of me just wants to do nothing. I just want to, I just want to like sit in my mind and my space and try to figure out the world, right? But I met with Rodolfo and we immediately hit it off, you know. Before Rothman joined the Zoom meeting, Rothman joined and Rodolfo and I were just chatting it up and talking about all sorts of things. And one of the things we talked about was how amazing it was to be able to be meeting, that we wouldn't have met in other circumstances. Maybe at some point we would, but to be meeting now in this time, in this way. And then also our mutual feelings about where to offer opportunities to people. You know, with the United States and Black Lives Matter and all sorts of things going on, you know, encroaching fascism, the fact that Brazil and the United States are similar. They both have presidents who are very right-wing, not just in a difference of opinion way, but in a fascist sort of way. That both nations come from a history of slavery and having to do mental gymnastics to even make it match with the moral code and character of the country in some crazy way. So I was so excited to come on board. It was not a question all of a sudden. After that meeting, I was off and running immediately. I was in my Excel files. I was, you know, creating lists of actors. I was reaching out to actors. I was scheduling casting, deciding on the dates of performance, all this stuff. I was suddenly moving, and it was so exciting and so wonderful, this feeling of being involved in making something happen. So yeah, there's nothing like it. And then to see this project and the way that Rodolfo allowed for the devising on the American side, you know, for what's going on here, for how to bring the character of America into this international play that has already been in Brazil and Africa and Europe with their own distinct characters. And to see the adjustment and the openness and to be part of creating a space that was safe for people and to watch the show adjust around what was happening in the country was really amazing. You know, we got some scenes, I'm talking longer than I meant to, which is, but we got some scenes that came late because of things that were happening in the country and the need to hear the voices of our Black actors really saying what they needed to say. So
Absolutely.
it was really
Absolutely.
Hey guys, if you like what we just did, there's going to be plenty more coming up. Please like, comment, subscribe. Our Venmo is in the description. Please support us if you can. Our cats need the money.